Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do I God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. Oh my God, that bless. So in that blessings, I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do I God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. People white God that bless. So in that bless. I want what is right for the mind. So we not stay mute. Your system is designed to be trouble from the door, but it will come to pass. I know not from the youth. In the process of time, we will know the truth. To give we white that to break this slavery. The doctrine follow on in the black community. The black Messiah, you try to see, we want to see. But we not to make you destroy the love with the love tree. That's why you have to control. I have no as I go to make the victim of the righteous action. Oh God, I won't be conquered in this street, God. Oh yes, I stand on no strong. Don't take me off your white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do I God save me from white man oppression? White God, it's just a black Messiah. Oh my God, I bless you in the place. Oh, my first contact with hunger. Can't start no right. Who could all things? Who don't want you must be white. So what about the black and them the most in life? You want your white supremacy. What to use to reduce my knowledge? Because I will always break down barriers and build down bondage. All I got in mind to get my privilege. You see, I have to overcome all wicked. Them on them false things. I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. Oh my God, that bless. So in the blessings, I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. People white God that bless. So in the bless. I want what is right for the mind. So we not stay mute. Your system is designed to be trouble from the truth, but it will come to pass. I know not from the youth. In the process of time, we will know the truth. To give we white that to break this slavery. The doctrine follow on in the black community. The black Messiah, you try to see, we want to see. But we not to make you destroy the love with the love tree. That's why you have to control. I have no place in Babylon. As I go to make you victim of the righteous action. Oh God, I won't be conquered in this street, God. Oh yes, I have to stand on those strong. Don't take me off your white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who do I God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. Oh my God, I bless you in a bless. Oh, my first contact with hunger. Can't start no right. Who could all things? Who don't want you we must be white. So what about the black and them the most in life? You want your white supremacy. Watching me and you text the version of the Bible. Oh, you want it? Remember, I know the people won't go unpunished. Here you ain't me pity, you want the wisdom and ways. All evil people shall think in the heart. I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black Messiah. If a white God a bless, I'm not blessings. I'm no white God. Don't tell me anything wrong.
Yeah, Shalom Israel. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. We have been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969, that blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indian people are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right. Before we go into the night, all right, I'd just like to review the timing of our classes. All right, we have classes all through the week. All right, on Monday we have the Monday night history class with Officer Makar Kobal. All right. On Tuesday is the brotherhood class, which is tonight, right? Which is usually done by Officer Sowap, Prison Officer Swapiala. I am Prison Officer Maikwa, right? I'll be holding down the class for tonight on behalf of him, right? On a Wednesday, we have the law class, right? Which is the Lasha one, Salakia, with the Wednesday night law class with Prison Officer Matt Kwayak, right? He does the law class on a Wednesday. All right. On a Thursday, right, we stream the class from time to time straight out of Harlem, New York with 12 Shield General Mahaiman. On a Friday, we have the Lashwan Kwadash, right, which is the Holy Tongue or the Hebrew tongue, right, which is done by Prison Officer Yakad. On a Saturday is our Sabbath service, right, which is done by Prison Officer Yakad and Prison Officer Sowap Yala, right. From time to time, you may see other brothers running the service on a Saturday, right, which is the Sabbath service, right? And on a Sunday is our scripted breakdown, which is done by our camp leader, Pre-Son Officer Galawan, right? He's the leader of the Trinidad and Tobago camp, right? So he does the scripted breakdown class on a Sunday, right? That is an interactive class, so you can tune in and ask your questions, right? And ask any question about whatever various questions you may have about the Bible, and you may be able to get it to answer, right? All these classes run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., right? The Sabbath service on a Saturday runs from 10 a.m. in the morning, right? But all the other classes run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., right? And we're going to get straight into tonight's class, all right? Today we're going to explore a little bit, right, about why the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man seem to find it so hard, right, to come together or to work together with one another, right? And there are a few things that the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man doesn't understand, right? Things that are constantly attacking him in society, and he seems to be mostly unaware of it, right? And unaware of his environment and the things against him in his environment, right? So tonight we're going to explore a little bit about that, all right? So we're going to get right into it, and you'll give me the first scripture, which is give me Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15, Babakusha.
The book of Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15. The ancient and honorable.
Right, so the ancients are what?
And honorable.
Go ahead.
He is the head.
Right, so the ancients supposed to be the head. Go ahead.
And the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail.
Right, and the prophet that teaches lies, he end up the tails, right? And the ancients and the prophet talking about our Christian or religious leaders and all our Christian pastors and all the imams, right? And all the different of all the different religious sects, whether be it full gospel, whatever Christian denomination it may be, all right? Whether you call it, even if you call yourself an atheist, understand, you still end up falling in that category, right? Read to back from the top of Bakisha.
The book of Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15. The ancient and honorable, he is the head. And the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail.
Right? And go ahead.
Verse 16. For the leaders of this people, right, cause them to err.
Let's say for the leaders of this people, right? When I say the leaders of this people, meaning the leaders of the Black, excuse me, the leaders of the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, right? So our leaders, right, we're supposed to be all up in the Christian churches, right? All up in the mosques, right? Who teaching us to be Muslim, all of them causing us to error, right? Go ahead.
And they are led of them are destroyed.
Right? And they that are led of them are destroyed. Right? So it immediately telling us, right? Telling the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, right? That the leaders that we currently have in our society causing us to error, and if we continue to follow them, we will be led astray. Right? And that alone, right? They're supposed to tell you that you're not supposed to be in the Christian church. You're not supposed to be in the Muslim mosque, right? You're not supposed to be in all these full gospel churches and all these different type of new denominations that you see keep popping up all over, right? Because all of them telling you to celebrate Easter and Christmas and Halloween, right? And they don't care if they eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? They're inviting homosexuals in their congregation, right? And accepting them to stay as homosexuals, right? Murderers, thieves, and liars, all of them, if you go to all the jail cells, all of them have the Christian cross around the neck, understand? And killing people, and still saying that the Most High watching over them. Understand? Killing the innocent, robbing the poor, the widow, understand? The fatherless, right? Taking advantage of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, and they still claiming to be with the Most High, which is not true, right? Which is a lie according to the Bible, right? If you continue to follow these leaders, they will lead us astray, right? Give me the book of Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 10, Babakosha. Right?
The book of Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 10.
Right? These leaders are one of the major stumbling blocks for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Go ahead.
His watchmen are blind.
His watchmen are what?
Are blind.
Right? So it's saying the watchmen, the men who's supposed to be guarding, right, and watching over Israel, he's saying these men have become blind. Go ahead.
They are all ignorant.
Right? And they have become what? All ignorant, right? Right? So the watchmen who would fall in this category, they would be your T.D. Jakes and your Creflo Dollar, right? And your Pastor Coffee and Pastor Gemma and Clive Dutton, right? And this is what it's saying about them, right? Read back from the top.
His watchmen are blind.
Right? So it's saying that Pastor Coffee, Pastor Gemma, right? Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, the blind. Go ahead.
They are all ignorant.
Right? And all of them, they're ignorant. Right? Because they don't know what they're talking about according to the scripture. So go ahead.
They are all dumb dogs.
Right? And all of them, right? The scripture, and not me saying this, the scripture saying this. It's saying all of them is dumb dogs. Go ahead.
They cannot bark.
Right? They cannot bark. Right? The times when they're supposed to look out for the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, all of them quiet. All of them have to say when rape going up in Trinidad, right, by almost 150%, them have nothing to say. And as they are not to say in the community about drugs, because all of them talking about sow a seed, right, and you're gonna reap this benefit. And that's where I'm coming from, right? Come in and buy this handkerchief, right, or buy a glass of water, or put your hand on the TV. All these things they keep telling us, right? And the scriptures telling us nothing about that. And that's where I'm coming from, right? So all of them is dumb dogs, and they say what? They cannot bark. They cannot warn the Black, the Hispanic, or the Native Indian man. Go ahead.
Sleeping.
Well,
lying down. Loving to slumber.
That's right. And that's where I'm coming from, right? When the whirling tumult and the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man looking for an answer, them cool. Them have nothing to say. And understand? Them drop asleep. And understand? Their bellies are already filled. And that's where I'm coming from. They have already made their deal with white supremacy, right? Because they know on the plot to take advantage of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Every community right now maybe have about 9 churches, and each one of them here in Trinidad. And that's where I'm coming from. And all of them, the majority of people in these churches is the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, right? So they set up to take advantage of us. Go ahead.
Yeah, they are greedy dogs.
They are what?
Greedy dogs.
Yeah, the scripture says they are greedy dogs. You understand? They are greedy. Just like a greedy dog operate, they give him food and he belly full, and he still, just because the food there, he's still fighting to eat. And that is how all these religious leaders are. And that's where I'm coming from, right? They are already made their millions, right? And they're still fighting to make more of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man until they grind it to a pulp. Understand? Until you no longer could bear, and understand, to be in the Christian church. Go ahead.
Okay. Which can never have enough.
Right? And what happened to them?
Can never have enough.
That's right. And understand? And if you're thinking, well, next year pastor will come around, he's not coming around. And understand? Because why? Next year he get a new drive. Because why? He never have enough. And understand? They buy a car, he want next one. They build him a house, he want next house. And understand where I'm coming from? Right? You win the lottery and they give him half. He won the next half where they didn't give him. And they go keep going like that. And understand where I'm coming from? Right? So they never have enough. They're looking to grind the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man into as we just say locally here, into a pulp. And understand? Go ahead.
And they are shepherds that cannot understand.
Right? And they are shepherds that cannot understand. And understand? Since just check the time. Check the times. How long are going to choose now? Some are going to choose since it was a young child, maybe 30, 35 years, 40 years. And understand where I come from? In the church, right? And ask yourself, what has your pastor taught you about the Bible? And understand where I come from? Right? And when they really think about it, nothing. He has taught you nothing. And understand? Because up to this day, right, in the year 2021, he's still telling you. You understand that the law is done away with. You understand? And that that is the fundamental basics. You understand, of the black Hispanic and Native Indian man. That is one of the first things we're supposed to learn as the black Hispanic and Native Indian man. How to please the Most High. You understand? And the church calls us to err by telling us what? The laws are done away with. You understand? So immediately crime will go up. You understand? Because if the law is done away with, then you could be a murderer. If the law is done away with, you could be a homosexual. If the law is done away with, you understand? You could become a rapist and a thief and a liar. You understand where I'm from? Because it have nothing to hold you in and nothing to check you. You understand? Or to keep you in correction. You understand where I'm coming from? Because your Christian pastor say that all these laws done away with, it don't matter again. They say that the old dispensation. And these are the lies that come out of these Christian churches and denominations, right? And the Muslim mosques and all these other denominations, because all of them, right, is some form of the other, some form of Christmas. Understand? Because even the Muslims, understand, they profess, understand, that they don't eat pork. Understand? But what? They celebrate Christmas. You understand where I'm coming from? They celebrate all these, many of these pagan holidays that come around. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? And we fall in trap into these religions. Understand? The Muslim religion is an Arab religion. Right? And a lot of people never really go back to watch the history of the Muslim religion. And understand? We're supposed to leave them with their religion. Let them handle that. And understand? Let them deal with that. And understand where I'm coming from? White supremacy, make the image of Christ white in the Bible. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? Causing the black man to error. And understand? Right? Thinking Christ is a white man, thinking the prophets white, when that is not so. And according to the Bible, Christ black, the angels black, the prophets black, and there's a long list going on. There's real blackness in the Bible. You understand where I'm coming from? And because our pastor did not or inaccurately understand, tell us these scriptures, right? Because the shepherds couldn't understand, it caused the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to error. All right, continue.
Okay. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way.
They look to their what?
To their own way.
That's right. Then understand, them looking in the scriptures for the answer. Them looking to their own way. And understand where I'm coming from? So when you go to get counsel from your Christian pastor, he's not going in the scriptures to tell you what's inside it. And understand? Because why? He can't understand. And what he will give you, his own solution. And understand? And that is why, and understand, you gain a hammer, pounding out your head. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? That is why as you leave the Christian church, you get robbed. And understand where I'm coming from? Or some kind of strange calamity take you. And understand where I'm coming from? Because they're not explaining who is really in charge. And understand? That's what higher fear in the coronavirus, because they don't know who in charge. It's the Most High in charge. Right. And all these plagues and pandemic is the Most High who does it. The Most High is not this all-loving God as they profess to be. Understand? There's a side of the Most High where the Most High will take vengeance, right? If we continue to sin and do abominable things against the Most High, right? Continue, Wakusha.
Everyone for his gain,
right? And everyone for his gain. So he will have his own way, and he doing it for his gain, not for not not for your gain, and for his gain. Right? Go ahead.
And for his quota.
Right? And from his quota. So all the things he doing is for his benefit. And that's where I come from, right? When he realized, wait now, in this job as a pastor, I do have a pensioner. So you know what going on there? He looking to store millions.
So
You understand?
Yeah,
go ahead, I'm say,
they have a pastor appreciation day.
That's right.
So each one of them have in there, they say, next month you will do yours, this month I will do mine. Everybody making a money.
So like that's a good point you're bringing it to. You understand? Because we know how insiders operate. You understand? It's like the teaming up. That's right. You understand? Against the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, everybody having their turn. And for when it's their time, each pastor having his turn for when it's their time for the members in the congregation to give them money. And understand? As you say, it's Pastor Appreciation Day, Love Gift Day. And that's where I'm coming from. Bless your leader, and all kind of things are coming up with. And that's where I'm coming from. And nothing for the members of this institution. Half of these members suffering. And that's where I'm coming from. Half of them doing a proper house to live in. And that's where I'm coming from, right? And they will run out on the TV to do things for face value, but the own members in these institutions suffering. And that's where I'm coming from, right? And because of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man ignorance about the scriptures, now you might be fearful to leave. You understand where I'm coming from? You might be fearful to leave this institution because why? For years they've been filling your mind, making you feel that if you leave, that something bad is going to happen to you, right? And we in the I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA is telling you it is time to come out of these Christian churches. Understand? Time to come out of the Muslim mosque. You spend enough time there. What is the results? You understand? What have you achieved? What have your children learned? Understand? Some of your children turn homosexual and lesbian and rapists. You understand? Because nobody had the law, understand, to tell them that this was against the Most High. You understand? So they grew up from a youth, from a child, not knowing or being lawless in society. You understand? Not having any laws or structure to follow. You understand? And when they grow up now and they turn out to be a murderer, understand, or some type of extortionist, understand, and he ripping off millions of people, and not just any people, his own people, understand, because some of us grew up at the class title tonight, right, to suffer with own people, to fight against our own people, understand. This white supremacy teach us to hate our own. We don't like nothing with our own, understand. For black business on the street, you're passing all straight to go by a next nation. You understand where I'm coming from? Because that done psychologically place in your mind. You understand? Somehow, right, you feel like black business inferior to any other business, right? And not just any black business, the Negro man business, the Hispanic man business, the Native Indian man business. Somehow your mind designed, you understand, by or tricked by white supremacy, right, to hate your own people. You understand? And all this is because of our religious structure, how we grew up in society. All these Christian leaders cause us to error in society.
So I can say,
go ahead.
Even looking at them, I was talking about, they're not warning the people.
Nope.
They're not even showing that even the same black businesses, sometimes the reasons why they are because these other nations form monopolies.
That's right.
And create cartels.
That's right.
So that they will need to get better goods, better prices, everything cheaper. And the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian other places full brunt of prices.
That's right.
So obviously their goods would be higher. And then if you understand you really say for your people, then you would really, no matter what the price, so forth, support the people.
That's right.
They come out.
That's right. As the saying goes, we will buy in black businesses until it tastes good and until it gets cheap. And understand where I'm coming from? They will make enough money where now they don't have to spend all that costs, and they will be able to get the right machinery, understand, so that the production and the goods will come down cheaper and they will be able to sell like everybody else. Understand? But if you continue to buy from the other nation and continue to support the other nations and all the other cultures, you will continue to remain in the bottom of society. Understand? And that is why the black, Hispanic, and that's one of the reasons why the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man continue to struggle and fight against one another. We can't even come together for the basic things. Understand? And as we continue to go in, we're going to get deeper. Understand? Because there are things for the black, Hispanic man to do. right? Not even on a, only on an economic level, understand, but on a more spiritual level, that which he would be able to form a better bond with his brother. All right. Give me John chapter 13 and verse. You can read from verse 1, Baba Kisha. Yeah, come.
Book of John chapter 13 and verse 1. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own.
Having loved what?
Loved his own.
What Christ used to do?
Loved his own.
That's right. Christ loved his own. It didn't say the whole world. And he say he love your own. And when I say he love your own, he loved the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, because they made up the nation of Israel and still make up the nation of Israel today, right? Go ahead.
Which were in the world.
Which were what?
Which were in the world.
Right? So his own was what? In the world, right? Because if he wasn't talking about a specific type of people, it would have say he loved all the world. But it say he loved his own in the world. Go ahead.
He loved them unto the end.
Right? And he loved them unto the end. And as I'm going from, meaning that is the virgin. You know, let's say that a black man's slang. And I love my virgin till the end. And as we going on, the ship sinking, we going on together. That's how that's how that love is. Understand? Right? Continue to verse 2, Baba Kisha.
Verse 2. The supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him.
That's right. So Judas doesn't make up his mind and set to betray Christ, right? Go ahead.
Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands.
Right? So the Father gave him all things into his hands. Go ahead.
And that he was come from God.
Right? And that he was come from God. Right? He was sent from God. Go ahead.
And went to God.
That's right. Go ahead.
He riseth from supper and laid aside his garment and took a towel.
Right? So he riseth from supper, right? And laid aside his garments, right? It doesn't mean he was naked. You understand where I'm coming from? He had on underclothes, right? But he lay aside the priestly garments, right? Right? And he wrapped himself with a towel. Go ahead.
And girded himself.
Right? And he girded himself. Continue.
After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel.
Right? So Christ now started to wash his disciples' feet. Right? Go ahead.
Wherewith he was girded. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, Lord, doest thou wash my feet?
Right? Because he's shocked. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? He wants to know, well, how Christ washing my feet? You understand where I'm coming from?
That's my other one.
That my other one. You understand? Use my leader. You understand? Go ahead.
Okay. Jesus answered and said unto him, What I do, thou knowest not now.
So what I'm doing, you ain't know now. Right? Go ahead.
But thou shalt know hereafter. Peter said unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet.
Right? This is now I can't make you do that. You understand? You use my other one, use my leader. I can't make you do that. Go ahead.
Jesus answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
Right? So Christ said, if I don't wash your feet, then you have no part with me. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? So Christ setting the example here. Go ahead.
Then cometh Peter said, so Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.
And that is to show how much Peter did love Christ. You understand? When he realized, if I don't make this man wash my foot, he had no part of me. He said, boy, we tell him to wash. Read back verse 9 again.
But Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hand and my head.
That's right. But I was more over. And that's where I'm coming from. Right? Go ahead, officer.
So like, yeah, I mean, if you're educated, that is just black man talk.
That's right.
Because you know, sometimes, I mean, it may be a literal thing, but I believe it can be figuratively as well. It says, so you want to wash my foot? Well, boy, if I wash, if my foot, if I wash my foot, and we are part here, but you better wash my hand and my head too, one time.
Yeah, so and we Christ trying to tell them that the only way to become clean through the same example Christ said that the only way for we to become clean through these laws, these statutes and commandments. You understand where I'm coming from, right? And that the example you're trying to show them by the washing of the feet. It wasn't only like a physical thing, all right? So through him that everybody had to come through, right? Continue.
Verse 10. Jesus said to him, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all.
Right? Ye are clean, but not all, right? Because remember, Judas was planning to betray him, right? Right? And what this scripture, the point is, right, is that the reason why the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man can't come together is have none of these religious leaders, right, or leaders in politics, right, or in all these type of religious denomination, understand, that could set the example. Everybody always want for the self. Everybody want, as the scripture say, their own gain. You understand? Everybody becomes selfish. You understand where I'm coming from, right? And nobody now willing to really look back, understand, and help the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man see the way. Understand? And thank God for commanding GEN.YAHANNA today. They decide that they going out on the street no matter what. You understand? To warn the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man. You understand? Yeah. Right? And they continue to hold the mantle that the Most High gave to them, and thus this is the I.S.U.P.K today. You understand? All over. You understand where I'm coming from? And men and women, right? And children have an example to look up to today. All right? What verse did I reach?
Stop at verse 10.
Continue.
Verse 11. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, ye are not all clean. So after he had washed their feet, and had taken his garments, and was set down again, he said unto them, know ye what I have done to you? Verse 13. Ye call me Master and Lord, and ye say, well, for so I am.
Right? Because he is ready the Lord and Master, right? So the correct word.
Verse 14. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet.
Have do what?
Washed your feet.
Go ahead.
Ye also ought to wash one another's feet.
That's right. You understand where I'm coming from? So he set the example. If I, you understand? As we tell them, if I is your other one, if I is your leader, the example I set, you understand? Then you have to set that same example for all the other people underneath you, for all the other people around you. You understand where I'm coming from? And that is where the black religious lack today. If we go to follow their example, you know what's gonna happen? We will have exactly what happening now. A society where everybody looking to rip off one another. You understand? A lawless society. A society of rapists and thieves and killers. You understand? And abortionists. You understand? That's what we have today, because why? The examples they're setting is a lawless example. You understand? All right? Continue.
Verse 15. For I have given you an example.
For you have given us what?
I have given you an example.
That's right. Go ahead.
That you should do as I have done.
That's right. You understand? The same example he set, right? We had to follow that example. So he set the example. He gave the example to his disciples, and the disciples keep passing it down, straight down, and they keep coming down. And understand? Today is under commanding Gen.YAHANNA, and I keep passing down to the generals, to the captain, to the officers, straight down in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding Gen.YAHANNA. So now everybody have the same example. You understand? And now we turn around now and sharing the same example, shining that same light to the people where? In the world. So that they may be able to see the same example. You understand where I'm coming from? And then they will know it's not about thieving and getting a one up on the neighbor. You understand? Or coveting the things your neighbor have. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? It's not about sleeping with another man's wife. You understand? You have no respect for his property. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? As adulterers and homemongers in society. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? All these things are happening because the Christian leaders and other religious leaders, right, have given an example to society that caused us to error. Right? Continue from where you stop, Babakisha.
Verse 16. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
That's right. Continue.
If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them.
Right? And this is how the black, the Hispanic, and the native Indian man will stop fight one another. And understand if we learn what? The correct example. And here in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding Gen.YAHANNA, we just set the correct example. And understand? And when we set the correct example, you will have thieves and they will look to rip off one another. And they will look to take advantage of one another, right? And take back something that was given to someone else. Understand? All these things, understand, could is what caused the black, the Hispanic, and the native Indian man cannot agree together with one another. Understand? Because nobody in all these Christian denominations could teach them this. Understand? They end up a lawless society. Right? We will hold up there, and I want to jump to Matthew chapter 23, and could give me from verse 13, Babakisha. Right? Right? Another thing in the black and Hispanic people society that can't cause you to come together. Understand? It's a lot of people will jump up. Understand? They will see prophets preaching on the street and them in front. Understand? Blasting, ready to answer back. Understand where I'm coming from? All they don't know what you're talking about, trying to discourage other people from listening. Understand? All these things people try, and all that is what caused what? The black, Hispanic, and native Indian man not to come together. Right? Go ahead.
The book of Matthew chapter 23. Till I can verse
13, Babakisha.
13. Verse 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
Woe unto who?
You, scribes and Pharisees. Hypocrites. For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entered to go in.
Give me back from it up again, Babakisha.
The book of Matthew chapter 23 and verse 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
What you call them?
Hypocrites.
That's right. And the scribes and Pharisees is what our religious leaders today. And understand? That's the Pastor Coffees and the Pastor Dottins and the Pastor Gemma. All these, right? They are the scribes and Pharisees. Go ahead.
For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men.
That's right. And understand where I come from? Right? They tell them things like the Lord done away with. Understand? Or how you should accept accept a man in his homosexuality, so he could just stay a homosexual, or some transgender, or a woman staying a lesbian. Understand? They never try to correct anything like that. Understand? Liars and homemongers, they don't care. When
breaking up marriages.
That's right. Understand? Breaking up and that's the crazy thing. Understand where I'm coming from? Right? Continue.
For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves.
So them themselves, you understand? All right, you're mad. You understand where I'm coming from? You don't believe Christ black. You understand where I'm coming from? And you love your white Jesus. Well, go ahead. You understand? But this is the problem here. Go ahead.
Neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in.
But you want to block them who want to go in. You want to place a stumbling block for them. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? You want to tell them what all food's good to eat. Don't study heat. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? And not allowing the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to properly discern, to see the truth in these scriptures. You understand? Go ahead.
If I may as well. You know, a lot of these pastors know about, you know, so-called Christmas and Easter, Christ is black, but yet still, you know, they're putting a stumbling block of the same Christmas tree, the same.
That's right, and some of them had the biggest Christmas tree in the churches and in the denominations. And that's not wrong, right? Some of these pastors in the what is called the Passover feast or the Easter feast, whatever, pork serving in the feast, baked pork and fried pork and all kind of thing. And understand, in these churches, and the pastor is the first one to eat. And understand, right? And all these things become stumbling blocks for the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. When the scripture specifically give us a dietary law that we should follow. And understand where I'm coming from, right? And all these things is what causes us to disagree. You understand? And when we begin to disagree, because some say, 40 years now I eating pork. And that's where I'm coming from, right? And now what? You can't come together. One side say, oh, we eat pork. Next side say, don't eat pork. And some people just in the middle, I give up. You understand? And so it keep going. You understand where I'm coming from? So these religious leaders now put a stumbling block in front of people, right? Because before it didn't have no debate. You understand? God said, don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. That is it. Yeah. And otherwise, it was put out the camp to dead. And understand where I'm from? They would literally kill you. Understand? No, we're not killing people now. Understand? Because the Most High give you a certain amount of grace. But that don't mean, understand, just because we grace, don't feel the Most High and could lick it down anytime. Understand? Some strange things could happen to you. Understand? And we just say it all at the one time, you just laugh. Understand? Right? Just the other day, I watched a little clip in, understand? A man walking in a normal place. Right, where you wouldn't expect that, and some old dry tree just fall out of nowhere on the street. You understand where I'm coming from, right? And when it was the place, you're not expecting. It was so ridiculous. Understand? It could have almost be laughable. You understand where I'm coming from? But when you really watch it, you know that is the most side. You understand? Go ahead.
Final destination finish.
I'm telling you, understand? And the tree literally, like it had no reason for falling. You understand where I'm coming from? And for some people that would be strange. Yeah. You understand? But they don't know the most I do he work in action. Understand? And they can't take no. That's sure they can't take no chances, right? So they make stumbling block for the people, right? Go ahead, Baba Kusha. Yeah.
Verse 14. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer.
Right? They devour widows' houses. You understand where I'm from? Where widows' houses have no husband. What is happening in Christian church? You understand? Christ, what they say? Why Jesus is the husband? Yeah. That what has happened. You understand? You devour widows' houses. So they take advantage of them now. You understand where I'm coming from? And then now, when they do meet a black man, that is hurricane, that is war. You understand where I'm coming from? Because why? These leaders don't mess up the head already, right? And they say what? And for pretense make what? Long prayer, bro. You understand? What's how far this is? Fight back. You understand? Turn on any one of your television, TVN, or wherever television. You pray long and they go in, put your hand on the TV, buy prayer cloth. You understand? Some of them is ha, and this one ha, that. You understand? I tell you, you understand? Them taking the Most High for a joke, but the Most High say what? Vengeance coming to them, right? As the scripture in Jeremiah say, woe unto the pastors, destruction coming to these pastors. So let us keep going. The time will come when they will meet that end, right? Continue.
Therefore, ye shall receive the greater damnation.
They shall receive what?
The greater damnation.
Them pastors don't get brutal. You understand? That's. I feel if it's a pastor now, we better retire now. Retire. You understand? Because it's telling you, there will be what? A greater damnation. You understand? Come out and tell the truth, a lie, a thief X amount of money, wherever, and start fresh. Start to work on the debt, pay back people the money, and get out. You understand? Because I'm telling you, the life of a pastor is a dangerous one. It's going to hell and destruction. All right? That was the end of that Bible question. All right, take a hold up the right. We go jump to give them Matthew 5 and 19 Bible question.
The book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19. Whosoever shall break one of these least commandments.
Right, this is what the Most High telling me, right? Salakia, right? Jump back to verse 17. Let me just read out the whole thing.
The book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
That's right. And this written in red. Understand? So Christ saying, understand, in the New Testament, right, that he did not come to destroy the law. So all the way pastor telling you about the laws done away with, that is not true, right? And a big debate over the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man today is the law, as if we should keep the law or not. All these things cause us what? Not to come together. You understand? Right? Because some debating if we should keep the law, some debating if we should not keep the law. This is not up for debate. Christ said, think not, right, that I am come to destroy the law. He did not come to destroy the law. Go ahead.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Right, continue.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass.
Right, he said till heaven and earth pass. Right, and when we look up and we see the heavens still there, right, all the moon and the stars and everything, it's still running, right, things still happening, and the earth still there, we still living on the earth, right? He said till heaven and earth pass. Go ahead.
One jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Right, one jot or one tittle, right, shall in no wise pass from the law. And understand? So he's saying, if you're still walking on the earth and you still see the heavens, the law ain't done. It ain't done. You understand? This will have to be destroyed. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? And that ain't happen. So which means the law is still fully in effect, right? Go ahead.
Till all be fulfilled.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Go ahead.
And shall teach men so.
This is the thing, you know. Now, whosoever shall break what? One of the least commandments. You understand what's wrong? A least commandment will be not eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Right?
No shape ups.
Right? Or no shape up. No marking at the thing, right? Or marking at your beard. Right? I one of the least commandments. Right? And it's saying, and shall what? Teach men so. And that's where I'm coming from. That is the thing. This is what these Christian pastors in the category they follow. And understand? Because they're breaking the law and they're teaching men to do so. You understand? And thus now, being that stumbling block being making the masses or the black and Hispanic and Native Indian man can't come together. You understand? Because we're just saying, well, my pastor does smoke. You understand? And we are you tell you, we're not supposed to smoke. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? And we don't be seeing that all around. You understand? So some of these Christian pastors burning packs a day. You understand where I'm from? Right? And the scripture tell you that they're not supposed to smoke. You understand? Right? So that is really hypocrisy. You understand? So they're teaching men to do so. Right? Go ahead.
But whosoever, I shall teach men so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven.
That's right. So, so when the kingdom of the Most High established, your Christian pastor gonna be what?
Least in the kingdom of heaven.
That's right. You understand? That way Pastor Kofi, Pastor Gemma, all them Roman Catholic priests, right? Pastor Daly, right? And the next one was down there. I forget his name, yes. Remember next one Umayun. Hajari. That's what they're gonna be. The least in the kingdom. And that's where I'm coming from, right? That's what people don't understand. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
So they say now, but whosoever shall do and teach them. So it means anybody who professing to be a man of the Lord supposed to do what?
Do and teach them.
Supposed to do and teach the laws, which means what? We're supposed to be learning the laws. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Right? Go ahead.
The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
That's right. And understand? They would be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Understand? And here in the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, what we do? Do and teach the laws. And understand where I'm coming from? That is the pathway to be called what? Great in the kingdom of heaven. And understand? So you can't tell people the laws done away with and they could do what they want, and that is an old dispensation, all the fancy word they like to use. And understand where I'm coming from? With the three-piece suit that can't button because still a pork in the throat, it didn't go down yet. You understand? Right? You're not supposed to be telling people that. You understand? So that is why these Christian leaders and imams and pundits and whoever will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Right? Go ahead.
Christian pastors, they don't even read this.
They don't read it. You understand? And don't feel like see them. But they know they jumping over. You understand? That is really the hypocrisy. You understand? Right? Because some of them know, some of them end up in debate. You understand? And still going and eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You understand? To show the level of evil that built up in them. Right? That was the end of verse 19. Right. You understand? So because of these religious leaders now, they have become some of the disruptive ones in society. You understand? And because now they have a sphere of influence, cause the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to struggle to come together. You understand? Because everybody is my pastor did say. You understand? My pastor did this. You understand? But what I don't understand is that all these Christian pastors, if you can understand this, then you have one foot in the door already. If you can understand that all your Christian pastors liars and thieves, you understand? And murderers and adulterers, you understand? Because even if they never physically do it, the example caused many to fall astray. You understand where I'm coming from? And that is how that is. You understand? That example they set caused many to become whoremongers and liars and homosexuals. You understand? And extortionists and all different type of sin that people commit, right?
Right.
You give me Hebrews 13 and verse 19. You understand? One of the other things that cause Black people not to come together, we struggle to come together, right? We will get in Hebrews.
The book of Hebrews chapter 13 and 19.
Salakia, give me Hebrews 13 and 1, Babakusha.
Book of Hebrews 13 and 1. Let brotherly love continue.
Let what?
Brotherly love continue.
And this is what the Christian church do have. Understand? And how we can say this plainly, when we continue to read, we will understand if the Christian church have this or not. Right? Go ahead.
Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
Unaware, you understand? It could be a man of the Most High sent, right? Go ahead.
Remember them that are in bonds.
Remember them that what?
Are in bonds. As bond with them. And them which suffer adversity.
The Christian church care about that? You understand where I'm from? Them don't even care about that. You understand? Watch how much are Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people in the prison. You understand where I'm from? Them do business. You understand? They will come and mama guy because why? They know if your time short, you're the potential tithe and love gifts giver. You understand? They wrap up a whole band in the prison, and you inside it, and you potentially to come out. But them don't care about you. Because if they did care about you, you know what they do? They'd fight to get your record expunged. You understand? Did I fight and show the proper way to live so that the day when I come, when they could go in front of the prison and get pardon. You understand? Did I fight to make it back an upright man in society? Proper rehabilitation. But they don't care. You understand? They pretend to get. What do they get? I old used suit. You understand? So that you can come Sunday morning service. Understand? And with the prayer in the back to sit down. You understand? They really care about you? No, they don't care. You understand? You see, they do things to make it appear that they care, but they really don't care. Right? Continue.
As bond with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body.
Right? So anybody else pain, they've been taking on that. Whether you are the worker that they will tell them and they're going to pastor. You have to help me. I just, I will go and pray. And that is it. You understand?
We pray for you, brother.
We will pray for you. You understand? Right? What I tell you what, what I will say, that's why, brother, you need to buy the prayer cloth and water. You understand? Right? It's $59.95.
We live by faith and not by sight.
That's what I'm showing you. You understand? That's why you need to sow $100 seed. Don't sow a 10, sow $100 seed. Because that is the spirit that is push. Them don't care. You understand? And you thinking if you sow $100 seed, you get through. You understand? Right? And this is hypocrisy in these institutions. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all. And the bed undefiled.
And the bed what?
Undefiled.
So the bed's supposed to remain that way, undefiled, right? Go ahead.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
And what is happening in Christian church? Every time, it's some type of. If I don't talk about the Roman Catholic Church, it's some type of the molestation, the altar boy, the ones that are women that come out because the man, the priest. In that particular, that was among St. Benedict.
Yes,
right, had to become so old for the woman to at least get a little confidence to come out and say, well, the pastor didn't molest me when I was a child.
20 years after.
You understand? Imagine the destruction that done put in these women's mind already. You understand? For you to have to wait 20 years to get that spirit off you, just to admit, to say, right? This pastor didn't molest me.
And so like you're still traumatized.
And still traumatized. You understand? Because if you come in just the same old way, walking in a stick, you're still freedom. You understand? And that is show the atrocities done by these religious institutions. You understand? All you look is whoremongers and adulterers. You understand? They always hear some pastors sleep with somebody, wife, the altar boy. You understand? It's all kind of ridiculous thing. You understand? And what they're going to do, they're going to bomb them wrong here. You move this pastor to our next church, the next one come down here, and so they're just swapping them. First, it become ridiculous. Go ahead.
You looking at some stuff on social media and stuff. You see some people, even admitting, for having sex in the back of the church. Having, all that orgies and whatever else they have.
Yeah, in people of business again. The church literally become a lawless institution. You understand? Because that is what I was teaching from the beginning. You understand? There was never about Christ. You understand? There was never about the truth. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness.
That the church? The church conversation will be without covetousness. But boy, that is so many church. Because all churches, you understand? If it's out of anything, just have this problem, right? And we go see where this problem is, right? Right. This is the meaning of covetousness from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Here we see covetousness, a painful awareness of others' possessions and advantages, and a desire to have them too. Right? So it hurting you, right? To see them have it, and you want what them have to. Understand? No, You want one like it, you want what them have. And that day, that is the Christian church. I'm telling you, and understand? Thank God for commanding general, we can escape these institutions today.
Right.
Understand? But that is what these institutions is about. Somebody come with a suit. Yeah, I want a suit. You understand? But you want one, I could give my one up. You understand? If I get the one with the gold stripes, I get through. You understand? Somebody buy a car, yeah, you were two, but you were two just like that. You understand? It become a competition. You understand? One woman come with a broad hat, the rest of them come with hat 3 times broad as that. You understand? Like that will make him more holy. You understand where I'm from? And these are the things that's going on in the Christian church. They lost the value and what it means to serve God, or they never had the value what it is to serve God, right? Right, and then a second definition say, right? In the second definition of covetousness from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it say what? An intense, selfish desire for wealth of possession, right? And you what it say? An intense. Then it then say an intense desire for wealth of possession, and an intense, selfish desire. So you want the ability to please yourself first. You understand? For wealth and possession. That's to tell you how bad it has become in society.
Some people say, I'll do whatever it takes.
That's right. And that is what permeates the Christian church today. You understand? So that is what have what? Black, Hispanic, and Native, it can't come together because you always feel that somebody will get one up on me, because you always feel like you're behind. I need to catch up. So it's like crab in a barrel. And understand? It has no brotherhood. Nobody care about one another. Man mashing one another literally in the face. You understand? To stay on top. And understand? And the Christian pastor pushing everybody down because he wants to remain what the only millionaire in the church. You understand? Right? He want to be only remain the top borat. You understand? In the church. And understand where I'm from? That is where the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, if you don't come out of these institutions, that is where you're heading to. Just destruction. And understand? You will continue to be fighting among one another because why? We can't come together because these things permeate your mind. You understand where I'm coming from? And we have to escape these things, right? Give me Deuteronomy 7:6 Babakusha. You understand? So we just going through stuff. You understand that literally cause the black man and Native Indian man and Hispanic man. These things cause us what? Not to be able to come together. You understand where I'm from? These things cause us to struggle. You understand? Because all these things we learn come directly from these Christian institutions. You understand? That is where the white man and white supremacy, these way they deliver to us. You understand? When he bring it as a slave, understand, and bring it into Christianity, that is how we taught in the Bible. You understand? From a selfish perspective, right? When nothing like this is in the scriptures. Go ahead. Deuteronomy 7 and 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
What the Most High say we is?
A holy people unto the Lord thy God.
That's right. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is a holy people unto the Most High, and the Christian church would not tell us that. You understand? It didn't say the whole world. You understand? It say what? Thou art a holy people. What? Read back from the top of Bakusha.
Okay. For the Lord, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Right? And this thou art is Israel, right? Right? Is a holy people unto the Lord. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Right? And the Lord chose Israel to be a special people unto himself, right? He chose the black man, the Hispanic man, and the Native Indian man, who all belong to the nation of Israel, to be a special people unto himself. Meaning that what? He separated us from all the other people on the earth. Go ahead.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Nah, equal to.
Above all that are upon the face of the earth.
Now we only equal with the Chinese.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's right. Above everybody on the earth. And understand, the Most High separate the nation of Israel. He separate the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And understand, and that is what your Christian pastor, your imam, and your pundits and all the people who carry in and what Scientology, and Egyptology and atheism. Understand? That's what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that you are chosen people of the Most High.
Right.
And if you figure out this, the first thing you're going to do is what? Come back to your people. You understand? You will learn together with your people.
Right.
And because we don't know this, that is why we continue to be what? Separated from one another. You understand? We continue to fight one another. You understand? Because that things written in the scriptures that what? We Christian pastors and leaders find it what? Hard to understand. They don't understand, right? That was the end of 7:6.
Yeah.
Right? Give me Exodus 11 and 7, Babakisha.
Exodus
11 and 7. Right? So the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man can't come together because what? We lack identity. And as I come from, we don't know who we are according to the Bible, right? We lost into this modern day society. We thinking we Baptist and Pentecostal and Egyptologists. We don't know who he is. You understand? So because you Egyptologists and I Pentecostal, we can't mesh. You understand where I'm coming from? So religion now making it hard for we to agree to come together, right? More confusion. Go ahead with Exodus 11 and 7, Babakusha.
The book of Exodus chapter 11 and verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
Excuse me. That's right. You understand where I'm coming from? So the Mosai immediately puts in a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. You understand where I'm coming from? Two people. Both of them dark skinned. Both of them, right? I had this woolly hair texture. But what he making them know, you understand? That the Mosai put a difference between the two of them.
Right.
One of these nations, the Mosai made them a chosen people unto himself. And that chosen people is the Negro man, the Hispanic man, and the Native Indian man. You understand? Right. All these African nations is not chosen by the Mosai. We are not Africans. You understand where I'm coming from? We are Israelites according to the Bible. We belong to the nation of Israel, right? Give me Acts 13 and 1, Babakisha.
Acts 13
and 1. Right? So the black man, right, because he constantly looking for identity, understand? He falls into all type of doctrine and philosophies, right? And causing that difficulty for him to come together with his people. Understand? Because it's all kind of background he coming up from under. You understand? He coming up under Egyptology, Muslim, Rasta. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? Would you like to call the next one? What? Seven tribes?
Yeah.
Or 12 tribes, I mean. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? And it's still full of Christianity. You understand where I'm coming from? All these things. You understand? Band up the head, that was a sort of Rasta locks. You understand? Some of them, the Rasta falling out. You understand? Right?
Smoking weed and it's East Indian culture.
Yeah, and it's an East Indian culture. You understand where I'm coming from? So it's just craziness, right? Give me Acts 13 and 1, Babakisha.
The book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 1. Now there was in the church that was at Antioch.
Right, so it's telling you how the church was back then. Go ahead.
Certain prophets and teachers.
Certain what?
Prophets and teachers.
That's right. That's certain prophets and teachers. Go ahead.
As Barnabas.
As what?
As Barnabas.
As Barnabas. Go ahead.
And Simon.
And Simon. Go ahead.
That was called Niger.
That was called what?
Niger.
Niger, man. You understand? They were called Niger. You understand? The Latin word for what? Black. Right? Go ahead. That was your name? Go ahead.
And Lucius of Cyrene and Maine, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch.
Yeah, you understand?
And Saul.
They were the black men of their time, right? You understand? They were the black men of their time. You understand? The prophet was black. All these things your Christian pastor would teach you. The angels black. Just give me Revelation 1 and 13 one time. You understand? The angels black, Christ black. You understand? All these things in the scriptures, and your Christian pastor wouldn't tell you that. You understand? You know he could tell you? The color of Christ don't matter. You understand? If color didn't matter, why the Most High will give you eyes full with color? You understand? To distinguish between things. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? He will just give me gray scale, and we see everything gray, and we can function. You understand? But yet still, understand, he make everything distinct. Right? Go ahead.
Revelation 13 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw.
Salakia, my bad. 1 and verse 13. Yeah.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Salakia. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
Right, one like unto the Son of Man. The Son of Man is Christ. Go ahead.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Right, and Christ had a garment down to the foot. Right, there's a vision. John seen of Christ. Right, go ahead.
And girded about the paps with a golden girdle.
Right, and round the paps, round the midsection, he had a golden girdle. Right, a golden war belt. Go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Right, and you see the description of the head and the hairs was what?
White like wool.
Right, white is the color and wool is the texture. Right, that's when you say white, we just say gray. Right, so you had gray hair, right, and the texture of wool, just like the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Go ahead.
As white as snow.
Right, as white as snow. Go ahead.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
And the eyes was red as a flame of fire. I don't mean fire was coming out the eye. You understand? Right? He drank wine. Go ahead.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
And his feet like unto what?
Unto fine brass.
His feet like unto fine brass. Brass is a derivative of brown. Go ahead.
As if burned in a furnace.
Right? But then they go on to say now, as if burned in a furnace. You understand? Past tense. You understand? When they burn are black. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? So Christ was what? Dark skin and complexion. All these things written in the scriptures. If your foot black and the top half of your body white, then you go say something wrong with you. You understand? Right? Your foot black, most likely what? The other color parts of your body will be black. You understand? Telling you something. The angels, the description, dark complexion. You understand where I'm coming from? The prophet's description, dark complexion. Right? All when you look through the scriptures, all these people, right, of the nation of Israel was dark skin and complexion. Go ahead,
Yes, like I was saying, there's, even as far as I know, for any record, there has been no record of any white man with any dark complexion.
Nope. And if that happened, if half of you black and half white, then we know something wrong with it. We know this is an abnormal quality, right? So this is what happened to the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man in society. You understand? We lost our identity. We lost who we are supposed to be as a people. And as I'm coming from, we have fallen into the philosophy and doctrine of white supremacy. And understand many of these religions that we are in today, and understand because all these religions and different denominations, all these things cause us not to come together with one another. And understand because everybody fighting, right, that their religion or their denomination, right, is the right one, right? And when all of them is just Christianity. And understand the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA is not a religion. And understand this is not something you join for membership. And understand the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is coming back under his God, right? Under the black God, under the nigger God. And understand under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. And understand I'm coming from this, right? This is not a membership. This is a bloodline. And understand the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man all belong to the nation of Israel through what? Bloodline. The seed of your father.
Right.
Understand? That is what distinguishes who you are. Understand? So if your mother white and your father is East Indian, you are East Indian. You're not half white and half East Indian. It don't work so. Wherever your father is, that is where you is. Understand? If your father is Chinese, understand? And your mother is Ethiopian, you can be black and star. He is a Chinese. You understand? That is what it is, right? So it's easy to understand, right? And that's something with the Mosai. The Mosai doesn't complicate things. He makes things very easy to understand. You understand? Just like fishes in the sea, he say only eat fish with what? Fin and scale. Simple. You understand? So when you go and throw a line in the sea, you have no problem. You pull up a fish, it has scale and it has fin, you can eat it. Understand? It has fin and no scale, you can't eat it. It has scale and no fin, you can't eat it. You understand? It must have the two in order for you to eat it. Very easy and simple. You have to find out the DNA and what enzymes it carrying and all that thing is nonsense. Just watch it, fin and scale, you can eat it. And understand? You pull up a clam, you know a clam have no fin and no scale. You're not supposed to eat clam. You understand? It's very simple, right? Give me Romans chapter 3 and verse 1. You understand? Right? This is our next thing, right? That the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? That caused me not to come together, right? Is what? The lack of incentive. You understand? You know what I say? But why I should be a Jew? You understand? Why I should be an Israelite? You understand where I'm from? Because why? You don't know who you are. So you don't know the importance of why it is correct and right to claim your identity on the earth, right? So give me Romans 3 and from verse 1 back up.
The book of Romans chapter 3 and verse 1. What advantage then had the Jew?
Right? So you say what? What advantage it have to be an Israelite today? Understand? Where's the advantage? Right? Go ahead.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Or what profit it is, right, to be of a separate people of the Most High, holy people. Understand? Where's the profit in that? Go ahead.
Much every way.
And Paul saying much every way. Understand? Right? In every way, it's more advantageous. Go ahead.
Much every way. Chiefly.
He said chiefly. Understand? He said much every way. So in all ways, it's more advantageous to be a Jew. But the main reason, understand, that you should want to be a Jew, you should want to be an Israelite, you should want to be of the nation of Israel. The main reason that you should want to claim your inheritance, right, being born among this nation is what? Go ahead.
Because unto them,
right,
were committed the oracles of God.
That's right. Understand? Because unto us was committed the oracles of God. Understand? Unto us was committed what? Rulership of this earth. Understand? The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man supposed to be what? In rulership of every single race on this earth. That is how serious it is. Understand where I'm from? Right? But a lot of our pastors is what? All them pastors, the majority of them pastors in some of these denominations is of the other nation. Them not reading this to you. Because this saying that you saying down in the congregation supposed to be ruling over them. You feel they're going to tell you this? They're not going to tell you this. Understand? Go ahead.
You know, even reading that, you're going to understand who he really is. You know, even in this society, you know, even the so-called white man understand how important it is to be a white man.
That's right.
That there are benefits in being a white man.
That's right. Because when you're a white, you benefit from white supremacy.
That's right.
Understand? When you watch it in the capital, understand? You feel if us black people that storm the capital, it would have so much they are live so orderly and so nice. When people die, maybe about 5, right? Right? Well, them say 5. Understand? But if it was black people would stop the capital, I saw every one of them, if they didn't get shot, would have been lynched or hanged or some kind of thing.
Right.
Understand? Or the rest of the life spent in prison. Understand? What's what I say? Imagine. Right? Imagine a white man going in on the speaker chamber, take out a picture beer back in whether I don't know what kind of animal suit he had on. And going back home in the house, and nobody to come by you. And they have a picture. You know to say that they know what you look like, you know. They have a picture here because you sit down and take a picture. They're back with all their partner. Some of them with a big white supremacy flag.
And posted on social media.
And posted on social media. You understand? And you tell me it's no arrest? What black man could do that? You understand? We don't even post we sell on social media and we still get hold.
Yeah.
The finding here. You understand? And that is to show you. And that's how white supremacy does operate. Yeah. You understand where I'm from? That is to show you. You understand? The next Trump supporter, she gets shot in she neck, right? And dead. And when she gets shot in she neck and dead, it was a black man, you know what I say? Or a domestic terrorist. Or some type of strange word that I use to show that you was a good for nothing or you was a threat to America.
So like even as if that
go ahead.
Someone made a post on social media. You know, the same even when George Floyd died, they brought up all his criminal records.
Everything.
And when this white devil died, they said she was an Air Force veteran.
That was true. And that white supremacy.
And not to mention the criminal trespass and all the other criminal charges she had.
Exactly. And you're absolutely right. And that's what I'm going on. That is white supremacy. So then Paul telling them, you know, right? This is the advantage of being a Jew. You understand? That the oracles of the Most High was given to us. That rulership was given to us. You understand? Black supremacy was given to us. You understand where I come from? Right? And that is the main advantage for us, right? Give me Romans 9:1, Baba Kusha.
The book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 1. I say the truth. In Christ, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost.
Right? So this Holy Spirit. This is Paul here, right? Go ahead.
That I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart.
Right? So this trouble in the mind, right? The heart is the mind. So you say you have great heaviness and continual sorrow. This is the mind. Go ahead.
For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ.
Right? So you can wish yourself cut off from Christ. Go ahead.
For my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
Right? So he brethren it, and the kinsman is what? According to the flesh. Not as them Christians say, we spiritual Israelites. They're not spiritual Israelites. Right? All Israelites related by what? The flesh. Right? Go ahead.
Who are Israelites?
Right? And he specifically said, he didn't say all the people of the world. He say what? He related to what? Israelites. Right? Go ahead.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
And he said that these people who are Israelites or who are of the nation of Israel, right, pertain, what pertain to them?
The adoption.
The adoption, go ahead.
And the glory.
And the glory.
And the covenant.
And all the covenants.
And the giving of the law.
And the giving of the law is their responsibility, go ahead.
And the service of God.
And doing all the things in service to God, go ahead.
And the promises.
And all things promised in Scripture. So when you look through the entire Scripture, all the things that promised in Scripture was promised to what? The Israelites. The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. You understand? So when we read, you understand, that he would take Esau next from among the stars, that is a promise he make, a prophecy he make that should come to pass. He promised that for the Israelites. You understand? But we, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, need to come back together. We need to come out of these religious denominations, right? And all these false philosophies and false doctrines, right? That was the end of that verse, Baba Kusha. Right? Right? That's what we don't understand. We don't understand that the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is supposed to be in rulership, right?
Right.
Give it. Yeah, they are apocryphal today.
Yeah.
Right. Give me the prayer Azariah 1, chapter 1 and verse. You can start from verse 1, Baba Kusha.
The prayer of Azariah 1:1. And they walked in the midst of the fire, praising God.
Right? So this was Daniel and them, right? In the midst of the fire, right? Go ahead.
And blessing the Lord. Then Azariah stood up.
Right? Because they was supposed to get burned up in the fire. Right? Which Nebuchadnezzar put them in the oven, right? Right? But when I took them in the fire, back in Daniel, where it said, the men who threw them in the fire died. Instant. Understand? And yet still Daniel them was living in the fire. Right? The fire was burning them, right? Continue.
Then Azariah stood up and prayed on this manner, and opening his mouth in the midst of the fire said, Blessed art thou, Lord God of our fathers.
Right? So blessed art thou, the Lord God of our fathers. And you say the Lord God of our fathers, the Lord God of what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Go ahead.
Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified forever.
That's right, go ahead.
For thou art righteous in all the things that thou hast done to us.
Right, and when I watch all the things written in the scriptures, the Most High was righteous, right, in doing all the things to us. Go ahead.
True are all thy works.
And all the works is true. Go ahead.
Thy ways are right, and all thy judgments truth.
And that is what the Christian pastors do not let the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man understand. All the ways, works, and judgments of the Most High is what? True. If we follow it, we will be on the correct path. Right? Go ahead.
In all the things that thou hast brought upon us.
Right? So you say in all the things that thou hast brought upon us. So all the things CBC coming upon us. Coronavirus. Understand the black man high HIV. All kind of plague, pestilence, and disease taken away. Black and black crime. Understand? Domestic violence. Understand? All these things is because why we don't want to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? Go ahead.
And upon the holy city of our fathers.
And upon the holy city, the holy city which is Jerusalem, right? All these things that we see brought upon, and when the black man is today, out of his city in captivity. Go ahead.
Even Jerusalem, thou hast executed true judgment.
Is what you say? Thou hast executed what? True judgment, because we sin against the Most High. Right? Go ahead.
For according to the truth and judgment, didst thou bring all these things upon us because of our sins.
That's right. And aside from all these things you see happening to the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man today is because we sin against the Most High. Understand? And that is really I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA trying to make us aware of, trying to make the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man aware of on the street. When you see me on the street corner, I'm trying to make you aware of. Understand? All these things that we follow in the Christian church, Christmas, Easter, right? All these pagan holidays, right? Eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, adultery, homosexuality, lesbianism, all these things making us what? Sin against the Most High. And I said, for we to know what is sin, we have to know the law. Sin is breaking of the Most High's laws, right? And once we understand this, we will be able to get led in the right direction. But we have to come out of these Christian churches and denominations, right? Go ahead.
For we have sinned and committed iniquity, departing from thee.
Right? And when you sin and you commit iniquity, you're immediately on the way out from under the Most High. Right? Go ahead.
In all things we have trespassed and not obeyed the commandments.
And not do what?
Obey the commandments.
Go ahead.
Nor kept them.
So we never obey the commandments and we never keep them. Go ahead.
Neither done as thou hast commanded us.
And we never listen to what the Most High tell we to do, right? Go ahead.
That it might go well with us.
That it might do what?
Go well with us.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment.
That's right. And so when you see we in this position today, having to go to all the nations for everything, we work clothes, water, food, everything is because why? It's righteous and true. And that's where I'm coming from. We had to do what? We had to blame ourselves for this. And that's where I'm coming from. We end up in the bottom of society because we hated the things that the Most High. We didn't want to follow it. Understand? Go ahead.
And thou deliverest us into the hands of lawless enemies.
Into the hands of what?
Lawless enemies.
What kind of enemies we have?
Lawless enemies.
That's right. We enemies, all these nations around us. Examine every one of them. Examine the Chinese, the white man, the Assyrian. Examine every one of them. Every one of them is what? Lawless. That is the problem. They have nothing to guide them. No moral code or conduct. You understand? All of them have become lawless. Go ahead.
Most hateful forsakers of God.
All of them hate God. Anything to do with God, they don't like. Politicians go right down to the average man on the street. You understand? They hate the Most High. And them who profess to love the Most High is Christians. And we know Christians do what? Eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You understand? Become homosexuals, become lesbians. You understand? Become murderers. You understand? What's plenty of them gang in America? All of them have a rosary around the neck. And Jesus peace. You understand? And why Jesus spoke up in the house. You understand? Right? And them is the most heinous murderers they could find. Right? Go ahead.
And to an unjust king. And the most wicked in all the world.
Right? And to unjust king are the most wicked in all the world. And that's where I'm going from. These are the people we under today. Because why? We decide not to follow the things of the Most High. Right? And that is why all these things laid out here today is why the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man can't come together. We move away from the things of the Most High. We move away from his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. Right? So you get too much scripture and then we will close off, right? So give me Matthew 25 and give me from 34 Babakusha.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat.
Right? So them on the right hand, right? He tell them when he was hungry, they give him meat. Go ahead.
I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink.
When he was thirsty, they give him things to drink. Go ahead.
I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me.
When he is naked, and he is a stranger, they take him in and they clothe him. Go ahead.
I was sick, and ye visited me.
When I was sick, you visit me. Go ahead.
I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
That's right. When I was in bonds, right? Lock up. You come and you find me. Go ahead.
Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when we thee and hunger and fed thee.
Right? They're asking them now. But when we do this for you, I never see you. Right? Go ahead.
Or thirsty, right? I gave thee drink.
Right? When we ever see you thirsty. Understand? I never see you. Go ahead.
When saw thee a stranger and took thee in.
Right, go ahead.
Or naked and clothed thee.
When we see you to do these things, go ahead.
Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee. And the king shall answer and say unto them.
And this is what the king will tell them. Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
And that is what the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man do understand. And understand when we live the way we're supposed to live with one another, we do it unto the Most High. Now it might seem, understand, that we do it unto the man, understand, because we live in this physical realm, understand. So it's looking like it's just something carnal, understand. It's just something that are doing in the physical, but you see what? You're doing it unto the Most High. It's just like if you do it to me. So the same way you would have do it if I was there, the same way you do the same thing to your brethren. Understand? Go ahead.
Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye curse into everlasting fire.
That's right. And them on the left hand, them didn't care. You understand? Because we know what they believe, and I actually fighting that man. The man I saying is the man I fighting. But I didn't realize that everything they do, all them things they're doing, all over, all them things they're doing to the prophets on the street, people cussing out, thing, kicking the poor, taking advantage of the elderly, all the most I see in all them things. You know?
Pastors,
Right? All the pastors taking advantage of the congregation, you understand? 10 the basket passing 10 times, you understand? And they're taking all the money to go and buy prostitute and want to extend the big mansion. Crap, they want to buy they have a $14 million jet and want to buy one that going non-stop. They find them stopping too much time to fill gas. So they want to buy one that can fly straight. Yeah, you don't stop to 3 times to full gas. That is a ridiculous again. So the one for 14 billion, they're keeping it. They're selling it, they're keeping it, and then asking for 21 million to buy the non-stop. So the one in 14 billion and the 21 million.
They want to stop doing what works. So high street.
It just get ridiculous. You understand? Right? All these religious leaders get ridiculous. And all these things now is what happened the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man today, because he can't understand that the things we do to one another is the most high people. You're actually doing it to him. And understand all that destruction and things we bring to one another, all them celebrating Easter and Christmas, we becoming a stumbling block for the people around me. And understand? If all blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians stop celebrating Christmas, you know what happened? Real industries go and shut down. That is what's right. You understand? I tell you how jail is going to be. I no soul and no flavor, not going inside it. You understand? White people sing whatever they used to sing. I don't know. You understand? You understand? So I got crazy, right? And I go last you close up with Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1 by Sure. Right? And this is where the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, I don't understand. This is one of the first things, understand? Right? We need to do, understand? And one of the few things, if we could do it, will send us a very, very long way, right? And this is what we're doing here in the I.S.U.P.K under command GEN.YAHANNA. Go ahead and read, Baba.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Do what?
Gather yourselves together.
That's right. As we're supposed to be doing, we're supposed to be gathering ourselves together. And where we're supposed to be gathering ourselves together, we're supposed to be gathering ourselves together under the I.S.U.P.K, under command GEN.YAHANNA. Because out of every institution I could find, this is the only institution that teaches you to what? Keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. All right? Go ahead.
Right. Gather yourselves, yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
Right? And we are what? A nation that is not desired. All other nations that try, that pretend, understand, to like Israel and to like black people and what is only because what? They can gain off of it. Understand? What them can get off of your strength and your progress. You understand? These are basketball and they start to play good ball and they realize they can make money. That is when you becoming they want to bring you on the team. You understand where I'm from? You become what? LeBron James. You understand? All of a sudden everybody pretend to like you. But let LeBron James stop playing good now. And it's the fastest you will never hear that name anymore. You understand where I'm from? And that is to show you how cunningly deceitful this society could be. Yeah. Right? How cunningly these deceitful this society we will read all about it. Yes. Right? How cunningly deceitful this society could be, right? Against the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Right? So with that, right, we will pass over the class to Priest and Officer Yaka.
Most in Christ. Security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, New York, under commanding General Yahanna. new rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister shall court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to speak. Yeah, they get permission from the head to speak to that brother or sister. And another 6 months, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3 from verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, we have the Feast of Purim, which is the 14th and 15th day of the 12th month, which is Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, February 26th, 2021. You can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, from verse 20 to 31. Remind Akim and Akwafian to check on social media, such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he needs to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, light shirts, light pants, light headband or scarf. And with that we say Madium. Upon your down to the tailor face the east, will be in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabashemaya, Kodash, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwafka, Kaba'a, Ratazaka, Aya, Aisha, Baarataza, Kawa, Aya, Bashemaya, Nathanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakno, Kawawatno, Kasalakno, Kawawatino, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Manasayawan, Abo, Awashino, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Atapara, Iwalamia, Aman.
What we said in the English was, Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For that is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
You're going to say the Hakka with the four. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Babakushai,
Natanam
Hakak,
Yarapa, Kalmakala, Wakama the War, Hakak, Lataha, Amatazarain, Hakak, Lakoyam, Amatayam, Hakak, Irakawa, Amata'al, Garashan, Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Awadaman. What we said in the English was Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it.
We're going to say the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh, Yahushai,
Wamakala,
Alahayam,
Matazabia,
Alawapiam, Hasaraniam, Akwatazaniam, Akalyaliam,
Akwafiam,
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Wada Aman. What we said in the English was, bless you, Yahweh,
and
Yahushai, Michael, and the angels, Commander GEN.YAHANNA, Generals, Captain, officers, troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, we thank you. So be it. We're going to say the I.S.U.P.K curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the name of
Shai.
Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake loose.
The treasure of the rich of Israel.
The treasure of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
Refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
Enter into thy sanctuary.
Enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
Their drug dealers.
And the drug dealers.
The court system.
The court system.
Prison system.
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Islam. Christianity. Egyptology. Militia.
Ku
Klux Klan.
Klux Klan.
Area Nation.
Skinheads.
Quasi-Comitazi. Gay movement. Lesbian movement. Spies. Workers of witchcraft. NASA space program. Army. Navy. Air Force. Marine. Wall Street. Open up the internet. And the area. The cable access channel. And the radio channel. Convict the spirit. Of any of thy people. That seek to stop us. And bring swift destruction. To all the heathen. That stand in the way. Or try to stop us. From broadcasting your words. Throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro. Through the earth. And consume them. Let the plagues. Shake the house of the thief. And the murderer. Let Yahweh, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucer. And punish all the heathen. That come against us. As we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh. We thank you. So be it.
We're going to say now the blessed Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wabaya, Saparia, Barak, Rapah, Magan, Hagan, Commander General Yahanna, Generals, Captain, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, Yakal, Matazar, Radar, Philip family, John family, Alexis family, Dikoto family. Commander General Yahanna, Generals, Captain, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, all the destroyed of Israel, all those trying to come to the truth, Officer Galawan family, Officer Sawapi family, Officer Matkoyakan family, Officer Makako family, Officer Yakaran family, Officer Tazawan family, Officer Sharon family, Officer Bariata family. Ba'ashem Yahushai, Tawada Aman.
What we said in the English was Lord, in the name of Yahweh, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones, in the name of Yahweh. We thank you. So be it.
Sir, let's give the teacher a quick salute. Amajan Shabbat, Imajam, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai B'Katah. Let's give sisters online a quick salute. Amajan Shabbat, Imajam, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yajamata, class dismissed.